The Griffin Legion, an undefeated force sworn to defend the frontier, is now urgently mobilizing, turning its guns towards the very people they once vowed to protect. All because Captain Ethan Blackwood's sister was brutalized and murdered, framed by vested interests, accused of being a lowlife who consorted with wealthy socialites. Ethan, while investigating the truth, was maimed and thrown into the river to die. In his last moments, he sent a desperate plea to General Harding. "General, your subordinate Ethan Blackwood, of the Griffin Guard, humbly begs you to come to Newburgh and deliver justice to my men." Immediately, 3,000 elite soldiers unsheathed their blades, marching south. Newburgh, and indeed the entire Southlands, trembled. 13 southern states now resembled a furious dragon, enraged by the investigation's findings. "You thought that with Blackwood dead, no one would dare pursue this?" Harding's voice thundered, his hands shaking with fury as he raised his sword. The next instant, the Legion's banner, emblazoned with the image of the mythical griffin, unfurled, radiating terrifying power. A volley of rifle fire saluted the fallen Captain Ethan Blackwood. The gunfire echoed across the land, a storm of bullets that lasted 5 minutes, shaking not only the capital but also sending shockwaves through international circles. "We, as soldiers, may ride into battle, may die on foreign fields, but we will not die unjustly at the hands of our own countrymen. This land was won by those in uniform, it is protected by those in uniform, and yet it is being exploited by those in suits. Are they so blind to their own folly? Do they not realize that when the men and women in uniform fall, they will be next? Then let us give them a wake-up call. Immediately relay my orders. 3,000 Griffin troops are to mobilize in secret, following me south to Newburgh. If necessary, the Griffin Legion will assume full control of the local military base. Issue a citywide lockdown of Newburgh." He bowed his head before Ethan Blackwood's memorial. "Rest easy, old friend. I'm coming south, and every single person involved will kneel at your grave and beg for forgiveness. That is a promise." Inside the Blackwood home in Blackwood Hollow, 2 empty caskets sat side by side. A woman was there, her face grief-stricken, tears still on her face. "Anna has suffered so much these past years as a wife, husband and single parent while taking care of Ethan's ailing mother. Ethan and Anna Blackwood were good people. It's hard to believe they raised a daughter like that. She went into Newburgh Academy and acted like that. Even went as far as sleeping with the richest family's son. It was announced that the daughter was killed because she was a prostitute that was seeking money. When she refused, she was struck and beaten to death. This led to the suicide of the husband. When Anna Blackwood heard this news, she was spitting out blood. A kind old neighbor spoke up. "Stop. You have to take care of yourself." Anna replied, "My daughter was not a prostitute. She would never do such a thing, and Ethan would never kill himself like that. The video clearly showed my daughter being tortured to death. Why aren't they giving us the body? Why aren't they being charged with murder?" At the moment another Blackwood walked in, Ethan's brother Kevin Blackwood. "Anna, it's time. You have to let go. Our mom is gone too. What else can we do?" The kind request for the body to be returned was to no avail. At that moment a man with a suit walked in. He began with, "See here, this video explains it all. Please sign this and everything will be explained." Anna shivered in fear. "Don't I deserve the body?" she pleaded. The lawyer responded, "The bodies have been cremated. I am not responsible for providing any remains. Sign here or it will get worse." He slid the contract across the table. The bodies being cremated made her lose it. She destroyed the contract and said, "I will not sign." The lawyer took out his phone. "Make her pay for this." At that moment a rust bucket truck came barreling in. It crashed the home, destroying the front yard and entrance, and narrowly avoided running over Anna and the others. The driver with a beer belly wobbled out and said, "Oh, I am so sorry. I am way too drunk. I will go to the authorities right away." The lawyer asked one final time, "Will you sign?" "There is no way you can win." In pure rage she went to grab the contract. A booming car sound drew attention and a war jeep showed up at the home. The captain got out, surveying the scene. The next act showed he was ready for war. "What are you doing, lawyer? I want you to pay for this with your life." The lawyer pleaded, "It was all them. Two officers dragged the drunk man in. The captain looked at the lawyer. You were saving this woman's life by putting holes in her. The lawyer begged for his life. But it was too late. The Capitan was not having it. What do you think of this, Anna? She replied, I have no idea, and with that he ordered all of them to bow down. In the midst of the begging, the captain shouted one final word. Execute. This shocked every single bystander. As the captain turned to the two Blackwoods. Anna, do you know who I am? She had no idea. I am Harding. I was a friend of your husband and a friend of your daughter. This I will not stand for. He was a man with valor. You may rest easy, and with that Harding went back to Newburgh to deliver justice. As he began towards the district, the lieutenant provided information on the families involved. He looked out into the bustling city that his country protected. Harding could not help but to think, this city that was created by us. And one of us died to create it. At that moment the phone rang. On the other side was the police chief, General Harding. You came to the Blackwood house and shot up the place. It was interrupted by Harding himself barging through the doors. Get out of here, he shouted. The chief asked, do you even know what you have done? Harding replied, show me your best officer. Harding sat down. Some student died. The dad served alongside me. I am sure you will figure it out. Where is White? I want her in 15 minutes. That sounds like a promise to me. Years of weathering storms cannot be faked, and Detective Harding was genuinely uncertain. Just then, he noticed the words scrawled on Mayor Thompson's desk, money opens all doors, power crushes all. Harding scoffed. A two-bit police chief spouting such nonsense? He's a guppy trying to swallow a whale. From the Nixon era until now, you could count those who could really make that happen across the states on one hand, and they were all at the top. Facing Harding's sarcasm, Thompson could only force a weak smile. Personal sentiments, of course. Nothing more. As for the late Sarah Miller and her father, John, there had been some unsavory rumors, but the official story stood. Brittany Thompson, who accidentally killed Sarah Miller, had already paid the price with community service. Even if you disagree, you can't strong-arm your way into a police precinct and demand a prisoner. Thompson had been carefully watching Harding's expressions, but he simply stated, I only trust the facts I've uncovered. A second ago, you said John Miller took his life because you were chasing him off for harassing a client, but before he died, he sent me a distress call, clearly stating he was being hunted. I have full records. I can provide them for your investigation. He pointed to his watch. Time's running out. Thompson's face darkened. I've told you all this to prevent things from escalating, but you're too full of yourself. In that case, I don't mind telling you that Brittany Thompson was bailed out the very day she was incarcerated. I personally authorized it. I'm Bill Thompson, and Brittany Thompson is my niece. Thompson looked at Harding with defiance. Then, he pulled out an expensive cigar from his drawer, lit it. Besides, Miller didn't die by suicide, but what does that matter? Do you know how important the people involved in this are? They could buy and sell this town multiple times over. You're just some grunt, too cowardly to even show your face. What can you possibly change? Suddenly, his phone rang. He glanced at the display, Dad. He frowned, but didn't answer it. Seeing this, Harding said, your boss from the regional HQ calling, isn't it? You're too scared to even answer a phone call from your superior? And you're here pretending in front of me? Just as he finished speaking, Harding's phone in the office rang. This time it was his from the regional headquarters. He didn't dare ignore it. Harding picked up the phone, and an old voice came through, on behalf of General Harding's father. Harding dares to directly hang up on him, but he doesn't have the nerve to refuse the call. Thompson, seeing this, eagerly leaned closer, smirking, wanting to hear what the phone call will be. Here, sir, he asked the mayor, you should speak to him. Thompson greedily ran over and began with, hello, I am Bill Thompson from Newburgh. This guy came in and shot up some people for no reason. The line paused as his father's voice said, give me the man back. Harding took the phone, put the speaker on, and said, "What if I said no?" The voice on the other end, with an unnerving pause, said, "Do you know that the Griffin Legion are border guards who are not allowed to enter mainland unless they have special instruction from the capital? The 13 states have called because it is now a personal army. And that you are in charge of it? Should I be calling them? Is this an invasion of our very freedom?" Thompson, who had been standing across the desk, sucked in a breath of cold air. The cigar slipped from his fingers. "It's not quite to that extent yet, but a conservative estimate would be a lot of deaths. I heard that the one behind the murder of my legion is the Lord of the Lands. If necessary, I don't mind starting a war in Newburgh. See if that man can stop my undefeated legion or not." He smiled as he stared at Thompson, while still on the phone. As soon as Harding finished his sentences, Thompson froze. The end hung up. "I want to speak with the person that said he could not afford them," Harding's father said. "Take him to the capital." The phone went dead. "Well, Mr. Mayor, my grandfather's name. I assume that is enough?" Thompson's mind could not comprehend the situation. The man. The myth. "You are his grandson?" Harding smirked. With this all but confirmed, Thompson's body went limp and hit the floor. "I am Harding, Lieutenant General." He grabbed his coat and stood up. "Let's see what everyone has been afraid of." He went to the window and looked out into the city. "Let's go, boys." Inside the Thompson residence at Thompson Bay, two 18 or 19-year-old girls were sitting next to one another playing a game on the couch. One with more confidence than the other said, "I hate being trapped in this town. I am so sick of this." This was Brittany Thompson. Brittany, the one that was supposed to be getting convicted, was at home. "You have to calm down. I'm sure the press has died down about the death." The friend began. "If I did something like that, would I be here right now?" Brittany grew more angry as she threw the controller at the ground, shattering it. "Oh yeah? Well, your friend Sarah had to learn to respect me. And now I am paying for it. At least I have you." The friend felt unease but agreed with a simple chuckle. "I will ask the house to replace the controller." The friend was named Haley Williams. Haley was the classmate of Thompson and studied at Newburgh Academy. Thompson then pulled out a video to show. Thompson said, "Look what that idiot did to me." In the video that Thompson showed, you could see a weak Miller pleading to stay in school, with Thompson saying she had to leave the building. The video then showed a man and a few other people moving towards the woman. Thompson was very proud of herself. She pulled up another video showing the last moments. "At least with her gone, no one will have to think about her." Williams was growing concerned about what she was showing. Williams changed the subject and asked, "I hear the dad was a Marine. Did he give you a hard time? Did the Marines even care?" Thompson began, "The Marines think they are all hot stuff and not willing to let us do anything. They can't touch the might of the Thompson family." But then a huge noise broke in. The man in the war uniform walked in and said, "The whole town is in lockdown mode now." "Who the heck are you?" "We are Thompson, that is a big name around here, and the town's mayor is on my side," Thompson bragged. Thompson pulls a phone out of her pocket. Harding took the phone and tossed it to the ground. Harding grabbed the girl's hair and slammed it on the ground over and over again. "Tell me again why you were so mean." Thompson's head was bloodied as she begged for her life. While this happened, Harding told his men to take and move the other man aside. "And this is why I wanted your face. I did not ask for this." Haley was not sure if she believed what Harding was saying. Harding began copying the phone. Thompson saw this and was terrified. Harding did not look at her and said, "Don't worry, I will find justice for the girl." Thompson scoffed. One of the men gave Harding a gun. "Do you have your final words? The hell are you doing? Who do you think you are? Her family is too big to fail." Harding fired a shot. "Did you expect that? Now who are you, you little twit? What made you think your bloodline was worth more than others? I had it wrong what I was supposed to say. It was just one final bullet to the head." While he was here, Harding talked about how he became friends with the man. Harding had been with the man when he was in the military in the north. The man had rescued him. It was now that all the air in the room had been sucked dry. Harding looked towards the other woman and told her it was enough. Cornered, Zach Thompson's composure shattered. Hearing that title, Brittany's face froze in terror, a chilling fear consuming her. With a thud, she knelt. I need to call my uncle. He knows people in the regional HQ. He'll get you out of this. Only now did she realize that these people weren't afraid to kill her. They were deliberately waiting to confirm Zach Thompson's location so they could eliminate them one by one. Now, she was truly terrified. If she had known John Miller had such powerful connections, she would never have done it. Your uncle, Bill Thompson, has already been taken to the capital for investigation. You can wait for him on the river Styx, you'll have company there. Harding said with a face of iron, pulling the trigger without hesitation. As dusk settled, a brief yet earth-shattering piece of news reached the governor, Nathan Nixon. The governor called Lieutenant General Harding. Harding, that car has reappeared after all these years. Can you tell me what is going on? Harding grew quiet. Harding did not delay to say they want something that was taken from them, or they want the world to pay. This will be very hard to stop. He abruptly left the suite, but his phone rang suddenly. It was from his grandfather, Michael. Harding answered, and without delay, his grandfather spoke. From this moment on, halt all retaliatory actions in Newburgh. For now, I do not want any more deaths. Harding spoke coldly. My brother died for his country. I am not going to let this slide. And I do not appreciate you doing this. You listen to me. I know things you do not know right now. I can't hear you. I am not going to let this happen. If they did this to my people, they will all pay the price. After speaking, Harding returned home. They were now underway. What had happened was only the start. Harding knew in this business you had to be quick. After a moment, a man ran into the room to see his grandfather, Michael. The man began to say, "Why are we being so easy on these thugs? They ruined the country." Michael did not take too kindly to this and told him to leave his house. Harding arrived back at home and told his trusted man about the next steps. Harding said, "You are going to do everything I did, but you have to stop there. If they do not listen, you are going to have to make a choice." Harding grew eerily quiet. It had all hit him. Then, Harding discovered a thing to his man: he wanted to stand up for a woman. Harding's words caught his attention. He felt a surge of appreciation for her, this Sarah, who dared to stand up for John Miller, even if it meant paying a price. She must be from his hometown. Harding said. There is a small chance they are trying to find that place. Go and protect it. Newburgh First-Rate Hospital, VIP ward. Guards blocked the door, gloating as they looked inside, where a middle-aged man stood beside a young woman in a hospital bed, her arms missing. Less than a week had passed since the Newburgh Academy incident, but for the Miller family, it had been like hell. Their daughter's hands had been cut off, her tongue had been removed, and the entire family business was facing a vicious squeeze. Though not bankrupt yet, they were living a waking nightmare. She needs to rest and take her medicine. Let us have some peace. From the room, the middle-aged man, Miller, pleaded softly, only to be shoved back. John Miller, what are you thinking? Unless you pay our money, you are going to die. John was shocked. We all know what is going to happen. Where will your next check come from? John asked. We have nothing to do with her death. We have families to feed. But her family is dying. No amount of money can fix what these thugs did to my daughter. John tried to hold his composure. A heavy footstep suddenly echoed. Zach Thompson looked around to see a man in a military uniform, carrying flowers, walking over. Hey, kid, you must have the wrong room. Or did you not know, or do you not fear being killed or being put in jail? The man's eyes flashed with cold light. In the next instant, the room was filled with intense dread as the man slammed Zach Thompson's head into the wall, grinding it back and forth. Don't you ever disrespect her again, you hear? Taking the handkerchief given to him, the man wiped his hands and walked into the hospital room. Not only were Zach Thompson's men stunned, but the Miller couple stared, mouths agape. "I'm here to visit her," the man said, smiling, greeting them. Then, he went to Sarah's bedside and sat down. But the smile vanished at the sudden change. All his body shook. The man said, "I know who did this, and I am so sorry I did not stop it. I am also going to protect you. You do not deserve what you did, and I am so sorry." The man on the floor started to get up. "And now he thinks he can fight me," said Harding. Harding took his phone and was about to make a call to his team. "You will regret this." And Harding was told what he was doing. Before Harding took his next step, he looked at the woman's family and said, "What if I was to take them into account?" They were nervous to say, but did not push him back. Harding began to whisper to his team, "Clean them all up, what is done is done." In the suite room. After a moment Harding looked at the two that died, he returned back to the suite, lit a candle, and said, "My boy has had to die, I can't stop being reminded of those memories. I will never forget this." It had begun. Zach Thompson was getting invited over to the governor's mansion. The man began to say they were very worried. The man started bragging, but Harding knew it was a lie. Harding smirked. "So, you think a little name-dropping can intimidate me? Since when have soldiers been so easily bullied?" He snapped his fingers, and the gold-rimmed invitation turned to dust in midair. "Just take care of it directly, one and done," Zach Nixon declared. Hearing this, Nathan lowered his eyes, wrapping his fingers on Zach. "It wasn't your brother who died, wasn't your daughter, what are you getting so worked up about? Using these methods to deal with a bunch of thugs is more appropriate. If the person who comes really matters, you wouldn't need an invitation, as they wouldn't care for you in the first place." Before knowing Harding's men, Nathan thought a talk would be best, but if a talk did not work out, elimination was the key. But now, based on the account of Bill, that man was just a young pup and did nothing after Brittany died. This was proof that Harding was just a paper tiger and looking to get money. After all, no matter how good the relationship was, now it is the time to start over. They need to acknowledge the pain and understand that it all comes down to the money. The words of Nathan were coming out. "What you're saying is to only take the risk of a gamble as a last resort. Zach, you have a lot to learn. Just watch how I handle these little punks tomorrow." Finally, the day of Nathan's 66th birthday arrived. From the decorations around the Thompson residence, to the lights and flowers, almost half of Newburgh was extending their congratulations to Nathan Thompson. A person who was almost the top of Newburgh. Well, before the party began, the area was packed, various luxury cars lined up. Inside the venue, a young man in an expensive suit, glass of wine in hand, stared at the stream of people down below. Those at the front planted the trees so that those at the back can enjoy the shade. All of this will eventually be mine. "Young Master Nixon, they're here." Just then, the door was pushed open as a group of young men and women came in, laughing and talking. "Young Master Nixon," the group greeted. The person standing in front of the window was the leader of this group. "Zach, why haven't you been to Academy lately? The Sarah case still bothering you? What nonsense are you talking about?" A voice responded that slut Sarah's death doesn't matter. Does that deserve any of the family to be punished? Who would even remember her family? Gia, why do you always try to start something? If Zach misunderstood you, it'd hurt his feelings. She isn't starting anything. With her or not. The army may have thought they got their person, but the man does not have the right to be in the situation. With those words the people agreed that the people had no right. Everyone then noticed Zach turned sad. "Also, how about that dead corpse? Why don't we leave her in the ground?" The room was dead silent. "Yes, you are right, I did kill her," Zach said. Gia continued to ask, "Have you heard back?" "She's dead. She should not have made me do what I did." The room grew cold. They should have left it there. You see. Her dad got what was coming to him, and with her dead, she made her own choice. The crowd grew more and more angered. Zach, you have to calm down. It's time for us to take action, is it not? Where? She asked. Zach told them it was over there. Is it not time? Yes, it is. And with that they went to begin the execution. The town began to be more active. Standing at the entrance was Harding. As he was there he said, "Is there any reason I am seeing you at this time of night?" Harding responded to the statement. Harding got on red and pointed. "Is there any way to solve this? We need to start a war." One of the crew began to say they should not go out. Harding was able to get the two parties in order. Harding got the group and brought them back to the room. Harding told them they were safe. After a pause, they got back up. "My name is Gia, don't mess with me. You do not want to do this." Harding laughed and told her to calm down. "This girl is a good person, I can tell she is scared. But that is okay. You think I have done wrong?" He looked into her soul and said, "You are a bad person. Let's change you up." She took to the floor. "I messed up, please, I want to change. If you did what the bad man told you to, you are bad. You do not know her," they began to say. "I should kill you. You have lost all your mind. I should bring you all to God." Then he said, "I have had enough, let's finish the mission." "Thanks, Hank. You're the first to boost the morale here." Hank was the first to stand up. Zach, face red, began his march. "With this kind of situation I cannot put up with you. You were invited here and should be treated with respect. How can you take advantage of it and cause such a thing to happen in front of the boss?" Harding gave his orders. As he dropped his hand the men began to make their move. As Harding began to walk, it felt like the earth was being cracked. The air was too cold for these men to endure. Harding then gave a nod and walked out to a car. They had all stopped as Harding then said the following. "You all may not like it. But you will follow me. I will treat you as I want to." And with that the two men began to be quiet. They would be doing whatever he said. With that Zach began to get a phone call from his father, and it was very important. "I told you I would get what I wanted. You all have to stand down now. Come on. I'm doing everything." They got to the mansion and then the call came. Harding picked up the call. "Are you guys there? How could you do this, you little runt? You are a monster, what have you done?" It all dropped down as soon as they came down there. The other man began to say how it was all stupid as well. Harding would take the phone and say something. "It might be the end of a life, it will not be yours." The man could not say or breathe. Harding then came in. "You all may now come here." And they stood and heard the message for Harding. With that he would turn back to the people. "How could you take advantage, you heartless monsters?" They would follow him, and he would see. Harding would step. It all felt and seemed like they were being set up. With that the men started to say stuff and scream around. It was with this that his house phone started to be active. They would get there right on time. They turned all of it down. How could one even dream they could handle the situation at hand? They began to shoot one of the crew who was running away. "I can't let you be free from me." And they came and saw to Harding. It was a man they know. This was not right. It started as a bad day, it grew much worse. They put them down and held them down. What more could he ask for? The crowd was silenced. With this Harding wanted to bring the man in his place. "No, I beg you, please forgive me. What is with all of your men? I do not want to die. What is this all about?" They put him in as Zach began to say no more. How could they do this? But then they took him down. What was done was done. What were you expecting when all those people were being murdered? What? Harding began to scream. Zach began to get more and more upset. "You are a horrible person." And that was why Harding wanted him. They were beginning to have enough of each other. With that the crew came in and destroyed everything. "Sir, can we begin?" Harding began to look at the camera. He began to smile. He began to push Zach's head on the ground. They both said they did not like each other. And they began to push it harder and harder. And with that the call was over. And the man would see no more. They were coming for Zach. They were coming for a war. Nothing like he had ever seen before. Why are you doing this? It is not right. The other girl would have wanted nothing to do with it. Please. No. The man would not listen as he began to turn and leave. But it was too late. The damage was done. And then the call came in. Harding took the phone. The families were torn. When you came, you did not know what was being asked of you. You are nothing more than trash and will be treated as such. You were nothing to me. And with that Harding killed him. The news would reach the world, or they would hope so. Harding then dropped the guy. The two crews would see each other and get prepared. Harding would stand behind as something fell. Something huge went over them and came down. It all fell and exploded. The world would never be the same. Harding began to get more and more upset, but they would not say anything about it. It then became apparent why he was mad. It was then the man said the following to everyone at work: "How could we do it and let this all happen? He was a great guy," he screamed. He began to scream more and more. And with that the war began for them to be upset. The end.